Preparing for mediation doesn't have to be a big task, super scary, and something that you need to put off. Let's start with parenting. If you're going to a mediation to talk about your kids, you're going to talk about where they're going to live, how much time they'll spend with each of you, maybe what school they'll go to, whether they'll have a passport, maybe their religion, maybe there's some people that they shouldn't be around that needs to be discussed. Write a list. Write a list. Write a list of all of the things that you would like to discuss. That doesn't mean that because you've written a list, you're going to get to chat about all of the things, or it's not going to cross over in some other area, but write a list. My tip for parents is to know your kids' routine and really think about their routine and how that will be impacted now you've separated. So, for example, when you were together on 2 days a week, they went to after-school care, and the other 3 days a week after they finished school, they were picked up by a grandparent on one day, you one day, and the other parent the other day. What's going to happen now? What is their after-school routine going to look like now? You need that not only for the mediation, but to communicate that to your child, because in their mind, they are just going through a really big change, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So what will that look like? What's your suggestion for what that will look like going forward? So there's dropping off and picking up from school. There is taking, children to sport, training and the games. What days are training at the moment? What days are games? What are the, likely time that they will play? Or if it's a regular activity such as a music lesson or dancing or an art class, or sometimes, kids have rep training for different things. What is it right now? What is the routine, and who's going to be taking the child to and from those places? With children's schools, are they going to be able to stay at the same school now that you're separated? Because the reality is, as parents, you are now going to have to run 2 houses, not just one. So financially, that is completely different. As what you could do as one household with 2 incomes to now going to 2 houses with each household having 1 income. Can they stay at the same school? Can they keep up the level of after-school activities? These are all things that you're going to have to think about carefully when you're going to a mediation, and what you're going to have, when you're going to have these hard discussions with each other about what is realistic and what is not realistic now that you've separated. Sometimes kids go to therapy. It could be speech therapy, OT, psychologist, play therapy, all sorts of things that kids, we're in this day and age, we're able to help them with. So what days do they go? What does it cost? Do you have private health insurance? Who pays for that? Are they going to keep paying for it? Who's going to, is there any out-of-pocket expenses as you go through, each visit with the therapists? Is there an NDIS plan for any of your children? Who manages it? Who makes the appointments and arranges the reviews and, updates the plan, all of those things. You need to know all of that information, because they're all relevant to when you're going to be discussing those things, where children will live, how much time they will spend with each of you, and what the world looks like for the kids going forward. That's, the real question, isn't it? That's what they're interested in. What's the world going to look like for me as a child? Are there safety concerns? Is there drug or alcohol problems that need to be addressed? Does someone have an issue that means that their children are not safe unless there's someone else present? And we see that quite a lot, unfortunately, because sometimes it takes a big thing like a separation for someone to realise that there's an issue and to go and get some help and slowly make their way through that process so that they can again be a safe person around their kids. You need to look at all of those things. They're hard things to look at, hard things to face, especially if you're the one who's in not great shape or, you know, could be considered dangerous around your children or not safe. You know, that's all things that you need to think about. Where are you in your journey, in your recovery journey from, you know, alcohol or drug abuse, or if you are going through therapy to help you with some trauma that's, you know, means that you can't manage your emotions well enough. Where are you on that journey? What does that look like? Have all of that information ready there to talk about, you know. And I think at the end of the day, we just have to remember what the kids' routines are, and if they're going to be moving between houses, how is their stuff going to move? How, you know, do they have 2 iPads, one at each house? Do they have, you know, school shoes, uniforms, all of that stuff at each house? What does that look like? You know, we've got to be really super practical with that stuff. They're not things that the court generally would make orders about, but those are things that you would discuss at mediation so that you can just have a smooth routine for the children, despite the parents not being in a relationship together. For the kids, you've got to really make sure that that routine is down pat and everybody's on the same page. People aren't chopping and changing, and which, you know, just upsets not only you as adults, because you get ticked off if someone isn't where they're supposed to be at a certain time, but it upsets the kids because they have all sorts of fears and worries, you know, that they've caused a problem, or they've, you know, that person doesn't like them, or, you know, all sorts of little things go through their head. So aim of the game is to make sure that we look at the children's best interests, what's good for them, what's the routine we can put in place that is in, you know, best suits their needs at the age that they are. Can it change over time as they get older? Think of those things as well, because, you know, what is in the best interest of a child in kindergarten compared to a child in year 6 or year 10, they're all different. So can you work out some orders that change and grow as, you know, your children age? Things to think about, but good for you to think about and jot down so that you are prepared to have that discussion with your lawyer and with the mediator when you go to mediation.